What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Shoe Booty Sports. This is your host, Graham Powell. On this screen, co-host Bradley Brown, and the hat on the other screen. Say what's up, Brad.
What's happening?
We got lots of sports. At least we did this past week. We're going to have a little bit of a break, but we'll talk about the sports we've had in the last few days or week or so. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Shoe Booty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, a marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app of choice. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section for t-shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series. And you can find us, Shoe Booty Sports, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on X at Shoe Booty Sports. We're going back to Rhino Races. Rhino Races did have 5 new Hall of Fame inductees within the last month or two. So business picking up for the premier virtual running series. So learn more about taking on your Hall of Fame journey today. Visit rhinoraces.com for all details. So let's get to the sports. Let's start off with the Stanley Cup final. Game 7. Not going to toot my own horn, or am I? I called it. It didn't happen exactly the way I thought it would, but I said Florida Panthers in 7 before the series started, and it happened. Florida got it done 2-1 last night in Sunrise, Florida. Is that the name of the city they play in?
Sure.
Go with that. But yeah, the Florida Panthers considered really kind of a laughing stock of the league of the NHL. Wow, of the NHL, and yeah, they bring the cup. They keep the cup in the state of Florida. The state of Florida has become the destination for the Stanley Cup, and over the last several years, and it's pretty wild to think about. They had said something last night about what the last time the cup was in Canada, and I can't remember what they said, but it's been a long time, which is just kind of wild to think about. But yeah,
Been
Florida
like since
Panthers,
the early 90s, I think.
I
Like
think so.
92 or 94. It's been a while.
It's been a minute, but yeah, Florida gets it done. They win 2-1 last night. I got to see every goal. Didn't watch the game in its entirety. I had to get up and go do other things here and there, but I mean, I stayed for pretty much the third period. I got to see every goal. I was flipping back and forth between that and the College World Series, which we'll talk about next. But Florida gets it done 2-1. It looked like Edmonton was on to something, figured something out after in game 5. Obviously getting the win in game 4, but then game 5, you're like, okay, this could be a series. You're thinking it's a must win. Game 6 for Florida. No, Edmonton gets it done and in impressive fashion too. But they go back to Sunrise, Florida, and the Panthers get it done and really looked in control pretty much the whole way. It didn't look to me like Edmonton, other than getting that goal, it's pretty much all Florida.
Yeah, they answered right back on that first goal Edmonton did, but after that goal, Florida snuck in another one. What's their first goal was pretty impressive. The guy shot it wide and the other guy kind of tipped it in off his stick, which yeah, I couldn't do that. It's like laying down a butt on skates, man. Um, but yeah, it was impressive. Looked to me like Edmonton kind of just ran out of gas there at the end, man. They weren't moving as quickly as they were in the other games. I watched a good majority of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So yeah, it's the most hockey I've watched in at least 4 years.
They did look completely gassed, especially in the third period.
Yeah.
You're right about that. I think someone had said this was the longest like the NHL season has gone in has taken place. Or they had more games played this season than ever before in the league. I believe that was the stat. But yeah, they look gassed. I try to watch the Stanley Cup final every year, at least the Stanley Cup
Yeah.
final, because it's always good. It almost always. I can't remember the last time you've gotten anything less than 6 games. I'm sure it's happened, but
Last year was 5 games.
okay. Well, there you go. All right, but usually it's always exciting. It feels like,
Yeah,
and
usually I get to watch at least three or four games. I think I've seen at least two periods from every game this season. Or yeah, every game this year. So
excuse me, there had something in my throat. But there's so much parity too in the league. It's like there's a new team there every year.
yeah, and Utah's getting a team next season, right? Or is it the year after?
I, I I'm not sure, but I know they are. What's their mascot? Do we know?
Don't know. I think they're gonna take the Washington football team route and just be called the Utah Hockey Club.
I actually kind of like that. It's different, but I kind of like it. The Utah Hockey Club, that I'm okay with that. Uh, yeah, this is the most we've ever talked about hockey on the show. But Stanley
Yeah.
Cup final, worthy of it, if ever now. Yeah, I try to watch Stanley Cup final every year. Didn't it all last year, obviously. Uh, but it was exciting. An exciting final. Didn't disappoint. I did think that Edmonton was going to score where the goalie fell down
Yes.
and it felt like they had 3 or 4 shots at it and just it kept
Fell
getting knocked away.
Yeah, fell down, lost his stick too, man.
Lost the stick, but lost the stick, fell down after. I thought for sure, I believe McDavid, Connor McDavid was in there. And so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, surely he's going to plug it in or somebody. And it just didn't happen. I thought that was their best shot. But it's like you said, they were gassed and Edmonton that is, and yeah, Florida was just better. They were better last night and got it done. Keeping the cup in Florida, the state of Florida, which is still weird to say, even as a casual hockey fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun Stanley Cup final. Graham called it, so I'm basically an expert on hockey. Is what I'm getting at. That was my long-winded way of getting to that point. All right, let's go to the national championship, or I guess it is the national championship, but the College World Series. Tennessee beats Texas A&M. The final was 6-5. It didn't feel like a 6-5 game. It felt more like a 6-1 game or 6-3 game. And yeah, but Tennessee got it done. Tennessee was the best team. They were the best team all year, as far as I'm concerned. I didn't think it was Arkansas. Uh,
We didn't have the bats going
yeah, it's
at all.
no Tennessee. My takeaway was they were one. They were the most talented team. Two, they were the most complete team. They had hitting. They had they could hit for power. They could hit for average, and they had pitching. So, I mean, the best pitching, top to bottom, starters, middle relievers, closers. They had the best staff, and yeah, they had the hitting. I mean, that was just that's the most complete team in the country that I've seen, and they probably were last year too. Just things happen. The best team doesn't always necessarily win the College World Series. It's usually just the team that's playing the best ball or is the hottest team. Like Ole Miss went on that run, a couple of years ago and got it done. Who won it last year? I can't remember who won it last year. It was an
When it
SEC school.
Yeah, when it I want to say
Well, I can't
LSU.
recall.
Yeah, LSU won.
You're right, because of Skeens, right? Paul
Yeah.
Skeens. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. It is LSU. And then there was a stat that I hate seeing every time.
Yes. Yeah.
5 consecutive national championships from the SEC, and it's all by different schools.
Yeah.
And it would be 6 plus.
It'd be
Uh,
7.
yeah, if it weren't for 18? Was it 2018?
2018.
Yeah, when Oregon State got it done because Arkansas couldn't catch a foul ball. So,
It was pain. Somebody posted the video of the foul ball last night.
well, that
It
was
was
8. They didn't have to do that. But yeah, Tennessee gets their first ever national championship in college baseball. And yeah, Tony Vitello is probably officially now and it's probably going to be considered the top coach in college baseball. I mean, he's had the best teams the last few years, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tennessee wasn't a power before that. I mean, they really kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, they were that middle of the pack SEC school that turned premier college baseball program quickly, and
Mhm.
like they had attitude about them. I mean, and they're getting it done. And here's what kind of scared me about Arkansas always these last several years: getting ousted early in the SEC tournament. I know people want to dismiss it. They want to just like it doesn't mean anything. And
A&M
they
got
got
ousted early too
who?
this year. A&M got ousted early this year. They're the first team out, I want to say.
That's true. But Tennessee, didn't they win it this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've won it like the last 2 years, and they got ousted early in the college or in the regionals, I believe, last year. But they show up for that tournament, and Arkansas hasn't. Now Arkansas went on that semifinal, or got all the way to the semis 2 years ago in the College World Series after not doing well in the SEC tourney. But that bothers me, not taking that tournament serious, and because you're not preparing yourself for the postseason, because that is technically, I mean, that's the postseason. You're in the postseason of your conference. Like, it's the conference tournament. You're in tournament play, double elimination, and you get
Yeah.
ousted early, and that has carried over, especially this season, and that bothers me. Tennessee shows up for it, does well, and usually do well in the tournament beyond that. Didn't last year, but more than made up for it this year. Dropped game one, but had a comeback win in game two, and really was in control all of game three from what I saw. I never thought Texas A&M really threatened when they would have the tying run at the plate. It was never a good at bat, like at all. I mean, Tennessee's pitchers just mowed them down whenever it became that situation, like tying run at the plate situation. It never felt to me Texas A&M really had a chance, even though looking at it on paper they did. I just thought the best team won the national championship, won the College World Series this year. Any dispute for that?
No dispute for me. I was surprised A&M made it to the finals. I mean, but they went on a hell of a run. What, 9-0 in the postseason or something like that until they lost to Tennessee. So, but yeah, I was with you. I never really thought it was a question on who was going to win. I mean, Tennessee got off to that early lead. A&M tacked on a couple of runs. What was it, the sixth or seventh inning to make it
It was
6-3?
Yeah, it was 6-1, and then they tacked on a couple, and it was 6-3,
I
and
think they had,
they got it to 6-4, but that fifth run was scored on a wild pitch with like one batter to go. It
well,
was
even
and
when
no
they
no one on.
Yeah, even when they scored the third run, they still had two on, and the tying run was up. And I didn't think I thought he was going to get mowed down, and he struck out just like he did. And yeah, and then they tacked on those extra couple of runs, and they had the tying run at the plate. And I never really was worried about it. So, but yeah, Tennessee was definitely the best team in the whole season.
So, and really the last few years they have been. They've been the most complete team the last few years. What do we think of Tony Vitello? If it weren't for that dust up with Dave Van Horn, how would we think of it? Naturally, being Arkansas alums, we saw that and we're like, screw this guy, right? Team DVH all day. But the guy, I never thought the guy couldn't manage or put
Yeah.
together a squad. He absolutely can. He's proven that prior to this national championship. But now with that, in his back pocket, you probably have to say he's the premier he's the premier manager in college baseball right now. I feel like that's fair, don't you?
Yeah, it's fair. So how old is he? I mean, is he even our age? He's already got a national title. I mean,
I would think he looks at to me to be in his 40s. I mean, he looks at like he's in very good shape and takes very good care of himself. But I mean, he looks like he's in his early to mid 40s, maybe. I would think. I don't know. That'd be worth a Google. Why don't you give that a Google real quick?
I'll get our
See who
research
pulls.
staff on it.
Yeah, let's see who pulls it up first. I was like, he looks to me like he's in his early. If I'm
He's
guessing, I would say
45.
okay. If I were guessing, I would have said like 43. Yeah, 45 years old.
I guess like 42. But yeah.
Yeah, has a natty. DVH still looking for that one. And I know it's annoying and frustrating, but you have to keep remembering and telling yourself, why do we even have these expectations? The only reason we do is because of Dave Van Horn. So that's what I have to keep telling myself. But it is frustrating to see what feels like every other SEC school getting a national championship, and Arkansas has been the one consistent program really over the last 20 years with just a couple of bad seasons sprinkled
Yeah.
in there during that
But
stretch. And
we can't catch a routine foul ball. So
no, and that yeah, and they've got
second base comes running in wrecking house. I
yeah,
mean, no
uh,
business being over there, but he was there.
all right. Well, let's move on to this. Is Tennessee now like Peyton Manning made a quote, I believe today, something along the lines of we're coming in every sport, like that like all sports, we're coming. And I thought this before he said it. Is Tennessee the premier college program for sports like in the entire country?
Why? Because they won a national championship in baseball. I
Oh, let's
mean,
think about it.
they're
Let's
not going to
let's
be that great in football this season, right?
they're going to be pretty. They were pretty good last year. They were pretty good last year.
I think they're going to have a
They're.
drop off this year.
I
But
don't think it's going to be that much. I think they're probably an 8-9 win team. I don't know their schedule, but they're
hey, they get to
probably
play
an eight.
They get to play Vandy every year, so that's one chalk up win for them.
Well, either way, you beat Alabama last year. I think they're 8-9 win program in football. The basketball team's always good. They're consistently good. Uh, Top tier program in the SEC right now. I mean, what got didn't they get to the Final Four? Or was it the Elite Eight? They got to the Final Four, didn't they?
Can't remember back that far. I want to say Elite Eight. I'm not sure about Final Four. Yeah, I think they did get to Final Four.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the men's
So
basketball team, that
I had them
good.
picked to win it all, I believe. So
Yeah. I had them losing in the national championship. I that was an easy pick for me with UConn, but men's team, Final Four, Elite Eight, whatever it was. The women's college basketball team has never missed an NCAA tournament. The softball program has become the top tier program in the SEC. They won the SEC championship in softball this year. Regular season, they didn't win the tournament, but they did win the regular season. Now that'll change when Texas and
that'll
Oklahoma join.
change. Yeah.
But I mean, still, they were the SEC regular season champs this past season. Uh, those are the big ones. And then you got a national championship in baseball, and you were really the best team in the country, and at least in the conference the last few years. I can't name a college program that's better than them. I mean, who's better? Like all around, you're taking everything into consideration. Who would you put above Tennessee right now as far as having the best all around program? Exactly. At the very least, you have to think on it. I mean, it's not Alabama. They didn't do any. I mean, they've gotten good in basketball and football, obviously, but they don't add anything else. I mean, they're not great at
They had
baseball.
softball a couple of years ago.
Their
So
softball team is good, but that's really about it.
yeah.
The baseball team's not. I mean, they're credible. They're a top 25 program, I believe, but they're not national championship contenders yet. Uh, yeah, Florida, but I mean, the Florida's not been anything special recently in football
No.
or basketball, even. Uh, Arkansas has a really good program, but the football team stinks, and I think they'll stink this year too. Uh, can't the softball team is kind of become second tier. The baseball team is top tier in the conference, but we've seen how they've done the last couple post seasons.
Yeah.
But considering how bad the football team is, and I mean the basketball team's coming, but that's a wait and see kind of thing. I couldn't put anybody above Tennessee right now.
No.
But
If I don't know if LSU did a little bit better in football this season, uh, and their basketball program was a little bit better, I could argue them. But
that's a big if. Yeah, I would give it to Tennessee right now. Top overall sports program in the country. And I can't think of who'd be number two, but I think Tennessee's clear cut number one right now. If there's another argument, I'd love to hear it. But I don't see it. So good for them, I suppose. Arkansas, step your game up. Okay, let's talk some basketball. I guess we'll work in the WNBA a little bit here. Uh, a little different perspective on it though this time around. Of course, the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky played, and somebody had tweeted, "Don't do they play like once a week?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. There's only like 12 teams or whatever it is. So there's I don't even know if there's 12 teams, but yeah, they're going to play each other fairly often, and it's at least going to be interesting when Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark play each other. But Caitlin Clark has had Angel Reese's number since the 2023, I guess it was, national championship. But Chicago got it done. Beat Indiana by a point. I did not watch. I watched some of the game. I didn't watch very much of it because I had to mow. I mean, I had to mow. So my yard was terrible. Looks great now, but I had to get out and mow, so I couldn't watch the entire game. And honestly, when I first flipped over to the game, the first play I saw was Caitlin Clark getting a rebound and throwing a beautiful cross court past her teammate that hit her right in the hands and then went right out of bounds. And that just irritated me and made me want to change the channel right away.
Well, she
And
leads the league in turnovers. Her teammates can't pass the damn ball or can't catch the ball.
yeah,
So
they can't catch the ball or just do something stupid when they do get the ball, like throw a double pump behind the head layup attempt rather than kick it out. Or so it's ridiculous. They need to get that player out of there, or at least there's a lot wrong with the Indiana Fever. That's why they've had back to back #1 picks. But I won't get too much into that. Angel Reese balled out. I I don't think Angel Reese is a great player. I think she's a good player. I think she's a solid player. Definitely one I want on my team. But she's nothing special, and that's my argument as far as an attraction. She's nothing special. She's if you're a fan of hers, you like her competitiveness, and you like her basically her mouth, the trash talking, the mouthing on and off the court on social media. If you're a fan of hers, that's what you like. But we saw the competitor, Angel Reese, Sunday. I mean, 26 points, 15 rebounds, was absolutely working that post player for Indiana, Nalisa Smith, something like the girl who's dating Dejanay's Carrington, the blonde chick for the Sun who says stupid things on X, and you know the one that clearly fouled Caitlin Clark and then did the whole
yeah,
like jerking thing after, saying that she faked it or whatever, but or sold the foul call when it was clearly a foul. But uh, yeah, Angel Reese took her to the woodshed. I mean, just completely worked that chick and was talking trash, and I loved it. I thought it was. We saw the competitive side of Angel Reese, and um, yeah, as she said in the post game, I'm a dog. You can't teach that, something along those lines. And she showed it. I was impressed by the game. She had the game of her life, and the eyes were
yeah.
on her. And she showed up. She showed up on the or I wouldn't say the big stage. It's a regular season game, but she knew the lights
That
were
was
on her.
they
She knew
treated
the
it like that was their Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, because they knew the cameras were on. And so they knew eyes were going to be watching, and Angel Reese showed up and showed out. And now, was it ridiculous that she was giving long hugs to Cheryl Swoops after the game, and like it was like they had won the championship when really they were both like, "We beat Caitlin," you know? And I mean, that's what it was. I mean, uh, it was funny to see that. I did get tickled by that, but they got the win nonetheless. It was a 1 point win. Uh, Caitlin Clark, you know, made had some Clark plays, but yeah, I left that game just disappointed in her. Just disappointed in what I saw, especially at the end of the game. Now I watched that last possession. I want her taking that shot. Uh, I don't. I'm almost want to say no matter what. You know, I want her taking that shot because she gives them the best chance. That doesn't necessarily mean take a 30-foot, a 30-foot three, like a low percentage shot to win it. You can you can attempt just a regular three or a long two or something. Get to the rim. I don't know. Did she probably make the right basketball play? You could tell the play was kind of designed for her to get it and then give it up and then get it back. But I mean, the Sky they sniffed that out. They knew that was exactly what they were going to do. And then Caitlin Clark dished it. I felt way too early to Aaliyah Boston, who can't shoot at the top of the key, and then she just she throws up one off the backboard, not even close, to lose the game. I hated that play. Christy Sides, I believe, is her name, the Fever coach. She can't coach. They got to get her out of there at the end of the season. Uh, I heard Mark Jackson as a name that was suggested as somebody to take over, which I think would be a good hire if he would be interested. But it yeah, Aaliyah Boston is a solid player, but she may be the most overhyped or overrated number one overall pick I've seen. Now, I mean, she did good things in college, but she was also on a great team. She just does she does everything good, like B like grade level, except shooting and scoring really. So I hated that play at the end of the game. I want Clark to take that shot, live or die by her shot. I don't care if it's the right basketball play. Less LeBron, more Kobe in that moment. Yeah. Find that dog in you and just find the competitor in you. Like it was like she was trying too hard to be a good teammate. Like I want my teammates to like me, you know? And it was just I hated everything about that final play. I left disappointed. Like when I looked back at it, I was like, that was the play. Like you gave it up to Aaliyah Boston. She throws it off the back, not even anywhere close to the rim. And that's the ball. There's a reason they let her shoot it because because that happened. I hated that. Hated the play. Left disappointed in Caitlin Clark, but hopefully she'll learn from it. She's not going to get anything from her current coach as far as something to take away from that. Which I didn't even touch up on this, but I mean, what a stupid thing a Chris decides to do to leak or to tell the media about the text that she got from Caitlin Clark being like they woke up a monster. You don't tell that to the media. You don't tell that to anybody. Like that's between you and your star player. I forgot to touch up on that a week or two ago. Just shows a level of incompetence right there. But I mean that chick can't coach, man. She's in over her head. They got to get her out of here at season's end. But I want to see Caitlin Clark take over in that moment, rookie or not, because Angel Reese has no problem doing it. She has no problem doing it as a rookie. Caitlin Clark, number one overall pick. They got you for a reason. You're the NCAA all-time leading scorer. Score when it matters the most. Anything to add to
Nope. Caitlin Clark needs to take over at the end of the games, man. I'm tired of seeing her pass it off. So
yeah, I hated it. Was it the correct basketball play when it's the second quarter with 5:54 to play in the half? Sure. Is it the right play at the end of the game when you're down one on the final possession? Hell no. Take the damn shot. I don't care. Find a way. Find a way to do it. All right. Well, let's stick with basketball and we'll kind of rapid fire to end this thing. JJ Redick hired as the new Lakers coach, dropped some F bombs in the introductory press conference. What'd you think of that?
I didn't think anything about it. I mean, he's a grown man. He can talk however he wants to.
Well, sure, but it's also an introductory press conference. It's a professional setting. You're sitting next to what's going to be your boss. And I liked the
He was sitting next to
message.
LeBron.
Oh, okay, fair enough. No, but what's supposed to be your boss? I'll put it that way. All right, good one by the way. But I like the message he put out there, like in answering questions. But I hated that. I hated the
He could have left out the F bomb
it
and made
came
his
off to
point.
me it came off to me like he was trying to either create a buzz or was trying to look, I don't want to say cool,
He was
but
trying to
like,
look cool.
okay, maybe trying to look cool to the guys he's going to be coaching. And it just like really, dude, like it's an introductory press conference. Uh, be more professional than that. I hated that. I like the message, I hated the F-bombs just because it's a professional setting and like
It
this is
wasn't
how you're
necessary.
starting off. Yeah. It shows that this is your first coaching gig. So I hated it. Um, maybe he'll do better. Maybe he'll double down on it. We'll see. Okay. Uh, NBA draft tomorrow night. Sticking with basketball, NBA draft round one and two will be over the course of 2 nights. Round one tomorrow, Wednesday night. Round two, Thursday night. Two guys from France are considered the best available players in the draft. A couple of forwards. I believe it's Zachary. Maybe it's spelled interesting. Uh, Rysachar. I'm sure I butchered that. And Alex Starr. Uh, Zachary, small forward. He's the projected number one overall pick. Alex Sarr after that. And the draft order is the Atlanta Hawks 1, Brooklyn Nets 2, and the Boston Celtics are at 3. So,
Because they need it. Yeah.
yeah, only going to get better there. And third on the draft or the best available uh, board is the UConn center Donovan Clingan. So that could be yet another piece for Boston to add. We'll see what happens there. Okay. All right. You want to hit up some golf with Brad real quick and talk about maybe the protesting that happened.
Yeah, some interesting things happened at the Travelers Insurance tournament over the weekend. Um, I think everybody will remember it for the protesting on the 18th hole on the very last hole of the tournament, or what could have been the very last hole of the tournament. It went into a playoff. But yeah, some environmental protesters, I think 4 or 5 of them stormed the 18th green. Um, Luckily, a couple of them got tackled. They had like smoke bombs or something that they're trying to
Colored smoke
protest with.
bombs or something. Yeah.
Yeah, colored smoke bombs. Some of them got tackled. The smoke ended up leaving some residue on the green. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it roughed up some spots and in Scotty's line. But yeah, luckily they got them jackasses off the course and they were immediately arrested afterwards. But yeah, Tom Kim led the whole tournament up into Sunday. I mean, he ended up shooting one worse than Scotty Scheffler. They tied and went to a playoff on 18. They moved the pin placement on 18 because of the smoke residue. But yes, Scheffler wins another one. It's funny that he was paired off with Tom Kim. I mean, they share a birthday. They're practically best friends. They have pizza parties on their birthdays, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, Scheffler beats Tom Kim to win the Travelers.
Scotty Scheffler, still number one in the world, and for good reason. And we'll get out of here on this. My St. Louis Cardinals are now 3 games over 500, 40 and 37 overall. They've won 4 in a row, now 5 games back from the Brewers in the Central. So St. Louis coming on finally, taking long enough, and the Cubs are dead last in the Central. So things are almost, like I said last week, right where they should be in the world. We'll be back next week with more sports and maybe Olympic stuff. But until then, this is Graham Powell.
Brother Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.